While just doing some research on you, I saw that your first single that you created was through the CSP music group in Atlanta. It was "Tell Me," right? Okay.
Yes.
And can you just tell me how was the experience? Was it formative? Your time with CSP?
Yeah, so it all started with me wanting to figure out where to go to create music, and I didn't know what the steps were. I didn't know what it looked like to actually enter the real music industry. So I started by just looking up artist development programs because to me that seemed like what I needed. And I ended up coming across them, and they were in Atlanta, but they looked great. And I also wanted particularly like specifically R&B, which didn't exist here in Austin. So I actually ended up flying out to them twice, and before that, I had written three songs, and I went out there and recorded with them those three songs, and those ended up only one of them came out, which was "Tell Me." And I think it's cool. It definitely was a lot more, uh, beat music. It wasn't like working with a producer to create music with the artist's lyrics and vocals. So definitely kind of like a culture shock. I just like, oh wow, this is how the music industry works. Um, it wasn't like the most creative I've experienced. It was more of just like slapping my voice on top of a beat that was already created. But it totally, opened my eyes to it. That was the first time I had been in the studio, first time I had put on headphones, like, and sang into a mic. So it was super interesting getting to discover that. Um, but definitely just not how it is now. So I'm glad that I have grown from that. But I think it was definitely worth it. I think.
So, what are some of the important lessons that you've learned to help you evolve your style since now you're with Orbit Recording Studio?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Orb, yeah.
Orb,
So
yeah.
I kind of float around now. I'm not particularly at one studio
Mm.
itself, but that experience taught me a lot about knowing what you want and being able to translate that and ask for it. So I have always had a very strong vision of what I like and what I don't. And being in that studio in Atlanta really taught me like it's okay to speak up if you know what you want, which is something that's kind of hard to do when you're just starting out because a lot of people know more than you, and I know that. But at the same time, it's my music, and I have a certain taste of what I like, so it's not me coming in telling people what to do. It's just me knowing what my vision is for the sound. So it just taught me a lot about how to speak up for myself and how to go into a studio, exactly knowing exactly what you want and being prepared and all those things. So I think it was
Okay, okay.
very useful.
Well, also while just doing some research, I came across an article in the Austin American Statement where you performed at a charity event for the Austin Children Guidance Center. And of all things, you got to open up for Motown legend and former Supreme Miss Diana Ross at the benefit. So just explain to me like the kind of emotions that you went through just leading up to that, the performance and then afterwards.
I mean, it was like denial, to be honest. I was like, there's no way that's real. I thought it was like maybe like a tribute band or something. I was just like, there's no way it's actually Diana Ross. But as we got
Mm-hmm.
closer, things started having to get more real. So I had to like really tap in and be like, okay, well, now, it's real. So I have to do the best that I can. But overall, it was super exciting to to be able to have the honor of doing that. It just puts your brain in a whole different place, but in a good way, So I was super, super lucky to have been able to do that.
Right. The center to increase access to individuals, families, and then even people just for like group therapy and just educating children and
Hmm.
families in need of mental health care and treatments. Can you tell me about your journey with mental health, if any?
Yeah, I feel like everybody has their journey with it. My family has a lot of mental illness like running in the family, so I've had to deal with that. Being able to be there for people and being able to comfort those that are in need. So I've always and then you have your own walks with it. Your confidence, your how you handle things, how you mature. Everything kind of plays into part. But it really touched me to be able to perform for the Austin Child Guidance Center because of that being a kid, it's harder to voice those feelings and have people believe you. So having an organization that does that and brings that to underserved communities especially is super powerful to me, because I know how helpful it would have been for me and for my peers growing up. So it's just amazing that all of that combined, Diana Ross, mental health support, the Circuit of Americas. It was just a beautiful thing to be a part of. So, yeah.
Right. I think next month is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Mental Health Awareness Month. So, yeah, just taking care of yourself
Yeah.
first is like the biggest thing. And I feel with the whole pandemic and pretty much being in a world where the lockdown happened and we were away from people that, you know, that just weren't in our families, it kind of made people a little more sheltered. Because I see it all the time. I try to just talk to people sometimes, and it's almost like just this awkwardness that goes on. So also in that article, they spoke with the manager of special events, Nikki Lofton, and she said that you were phenomenal and an overall amazing musician in person, and would be a great role model.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and it will be a great role model
Oh,
for the kids who came out to the festival. What's your best advice for kids who may be
listen.
aspiring musicians?
I mean, I still pretty much am the kid that's the aspiring musician, but something that would have really helped if me hearing to hear when I was first starting out is just power through. When you see things that aren't working out the way that you planned it to, just trust that that's the way that it's supposed to fall into place. And if you know what it is that you're destined to do, whether it be, you know, having a career in the arts or having a career in business or the medical field, just know what you want and just give it your all, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have, in this day and age, it's pretty like common where people think that the best thing to do is be famous or do TikTok or be you have to be an artist or you have to do something that makes you famous. But I think there's so much value in the traditional journey. It's just like this is just what I've ended up doing, just because I think this is what I couldn't live doing anything else. And if that's you, chase that,
Hmm.
But there's so many people that looked or that don't see the value in medical field workers or the paramedic people or all types of other journeys and lawyers and things like that are so valuable still. So just whatever it is that you find your passion is, just go all in and just grind for it, because no matter what, like you'll be able to make it. You just have to put the effort in.
Right. Okay. Hey, famous words to live by. So personally, I came across your music through a For You page on Instagram. There's this guy that I follow. His name is Gen Direct Music on Instagram, and basically he plugged me into your song Digits with
That's
Magna
dope.
Carta, and it was like he said this was the perfect song to listen to on a late night drive. I'm like, well, I'm not driving late out here in LA. I'm usually trying to be at home around a certain
Yeah.
time. But when I heard it, I was just like, wow, this has very like neo soul R&B and
Thank you.
90s
Yeah.
R&B vibes. What are some of your favorite artist collaborations from that era of music?
I mean, there's so many. It all starts with D'Angelo, SWV, 112, Lloyd. Oh my God, Lloyd is incredible to me. Some people don't like Lloyd. I love Michael Jackson, of course, is the catalyst of all of those artists, or most of
Right.
them. Um, so many great artists that created the sound of R&B, and Aaliyah, of course. So many of these iconic people that I still sing their covers of today. But those are just a few of my favorite people, favorite artists that I grew up listening to, and artists that feel like home to me. When you put it on and you're like, dang, I feel
Hmm.
good. I feel like this is a hug. So those are those
I
artists for
like that.
me.
If you could pick one of those artists to just like sit down and have a conversation with, who would you choose, and then what questions would you ask them?
Um, well, I would say Michael Jackson, rest in peace. But I also, oh dang, I would also say Aaliyah, but rest in peace. Um, uh, I mean, any of them really, or maybe Mary J. Blige or Lauren Hill would be amazing to talk to. I feel like their mindset on careers are very unique. I know Lauren Hill has a lot of opinions on fame and a lot of opinions on the industry that I would love to see, what her point of view is. And she also is motivated. I just want to see what motivates them. What do they feel in the studio? What are the reasons why they can't stop pursuing this career? What
Mhm.
makes it their thing. I would just love to sit down and just pick their brains. But current artists, I've always wanted to talk to James Blake about his process because his brain is crazy, and Miguel too, since he produces all of his own music. Um, just a lot of producers. I would love to talk to them because I feel like that's the root of music. If you're producing your own music, then that's like you're that's just anointed, So you have something in you that's just undeniably, a gift.
Okay, okay. And the last thing from that article that I noticed was a quote from you where you stated that you'd hope to be the voice of the outcast. What do you mean by this?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people and a lot of artists always talk about how there's a lot of alienation, or a lot of artists grow up feeling very left out or different, which is also how have felt growing up. When you're pursuing something that isn't like what is expected or what is respected by elders or people in your family or other peers, it's really hard to make people believe in you. And it's hard to make people like see the vision, if you're not like proving that it's working yet. So before I even now I have so much work to go to do, but when I was first starting and I had no accolades or no proof that I was working or that this was going to work, it was so hard for people to see my vision and support it. So me saying that is just like I want to speak up for those people that haven't numerically or like haven't famously proven it yet, but that know what they're meant to do. And just like all the weirdos in the world, like we're here in this together. Like I want to be the person that like doesn't change to act like I'm like super cool or like trying to put on a character that isn't me. It's just I'm gonna be me no matter what, and I hope to make other people feel like they can do the same thing.
I like that. I like that. That brings me to my next question. Has music always been career plan? And if so, what defining moment did you realize you wanted to do music?
Really, but yes. So I grew up. I'm sure you might have read this somewhere, but I grew up dancing pre-professionally my whole life. So
Hmm.
during those years, my mom, I was dancing in the studio that she owns. So she created her own business and has been running her dance studio for about 25 years now. She's doing amazing. I love her. She's a wonderful woman. Um, but growing up in that studio, I didn't. She's one of those tough moms that didn't want me to switch up. She wanted to teach me commitment, hard work, all those things, which paid off. But it did hold me back from exploring what I really wanted to do. So I knew that I was always very musically inclined. I used to play. I grew up playing piano. I was in middle school band. Um, and I knew that music was always like the thing that I couldn't go a day without. Like I could never go a day without listening to music. I was always sitting for hours on Spotify rearranging my playlists and stuff and finding new music. And when I got to high school, I started realizing like I don't know if dance is what I want to make a career out of, because dancing, the goal is to kind of make you look cohesive with other dancers for big shows. You want to look as
Hmm.
cohesive as possible, and I think that's
Right.
amazing. And I still dance and I still work at that, but I really wanted to just be an individual and like do whatever I wanted. So, and music was just that was the peak. It was like that was the source of my love for dance. It was like without music, I probably wouldn't have like dance as much. It's like sports. I can't stand sports because it's not musical. So it's like it's hard for me to enjoy it. I know. The sports fans are screaming. Um but yeah,
Hmm.
it just definitely I it just proved to me in the beginning of high school where I was like, "Oh yeah, there's no way that I can't not do music." And then I just took my love for poetry and English and combined it with my voice and then started writing music, and it just blossomed from there.
Okay. In today's music world, name a few artists you would love to do a song with and why.
I have a list. I have a list in my phone. But off the top of my head,
Oh,
I would love to work with Ari Lennox. I think she's so dope. I think her writing is amazing. She's so charismatic. I would love to work with Brent Fayez. I think he's so unapologetically moody. I love it. James Blake, I would love to produce. I would love to, work with him on a production level. Leon Thomas, he's an incredible producer as well. I love J. Cole. I love Kendrick. I would love to do, some vocals on a Kendrick song. That would be amazing. There's so many more. Summer Walker as well. Um, there's a bunch. Miguel, of course. Just all my heroes, you know.
speaking of vocals, didn't you do some work with Black Odyssey?
Yeah, a lot. So him and I are actually real life friends, and we met at a studio at Orb. And from there, he had me feature on his album, and then from after that, we just he calls me up to the studio whenever, and I'll slide in some vocals on. I had one on some vocals on Benny's Got a Gun, and on a whole bunch of new songs on his new record that's coming out soon. And
Nice. Okay.
through him, we also worked with Rhapsody, so I got to work with on the new Rhapsody project as well. So yeah, I love doing things like that.
Okay. Well, you making moves. You're making moves. I see. I see.
I guess, yeah.
So after listening to Digits, I wanted to just take a look at some more music from your catalog, and I listened to your EP Heavy. What I
Thank you.
never told you.
Uh
My
huh.
favorite song that I had on loop was "This Isn't Love,"
Oh, cool.
but from that from that project, what's your favorite song?
That one's probably my least favorite. That
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
it's so upbeat. I'm like it gets so annoying, you know. Um, but I get it. Like obviously I wrote that when I wrote it, I loved it. Um,
Mhm.
but that one it's cool. But my favorite is probably I really do love Captive. It's kind of slept on, probably just because it's a piano ballad. But that one was I love music like that. I love simple music, so that one always has it struck a nerve. You know, when I wrote it, it was very emotional for me, and I think that is captured nicely in that song. So that one is probably my one of my favorites that I don't talk about very much, but commercially and like more popularly, my favorite on that album is Pretty Boy for sure. I love playing it live. That one is also produced by Black Odyssey, so we got to work on that together as well. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, wow. So you basically just said my taste in music was terrible.
No, I swear, no.
Uh, that's one thing I like about like musical artists. You guys get to put your feelings and emotions into your writing. As far as like
Hmm.
journalists, we want to be objective in anything that we write, which is not putting any of our emotion in there. And it's sometimes it's hard not to.
Yeah,
Like there's so
yeah, I
many
can't be. Yeah,
yeah, there's so many things I love to write about from music to sneakers, and it's like, okay, you want me to write about this sneaker? Me personally, I think it's ugly. I don't want to put that in my writing. I don't want to piss off Nike, but you know,
I get you. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a interesting take for writing. I can't imagine what it's like to write without feeling like because my whole existence, which it's almost Pisces season, and I'm a Pisces, so
okay,
Pisces are notoriously known for being rather not emotional. Like I'm very I'm pretty much the same mood all the time. but I'm very sensitive to other people's emotions and I always know what I'm feeling. So that's why writing is a lot it's pretty easy for me. It's just I just get to make it concise and to the point and I know what I'm talking I can express my feelings and then move on from it. So it really does help to be in touch with your feelings when you write being an artist.
Yeah, it's not so necessarily not writing with your feelings or any feelings at all. It's just you're giving someone information and you want it to be
Like less
as least,
opinionated.
yeah, as possible. So
Yeah.
sometimes that's hard to do.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's something that people would be surprised to learn about you.
I eat cereal like every day. Like literally
Okay.
every day.
Okay, say we got to do this. Top five cereals in no order.
Okay, no, but people are gonna clown me because it's not like normal people cereal. It's like vegan, like like off
Oh, so
brand.
you're a vegan. Okay.
Not entirely. I just like I try to eat like when where I can make it healthier, I try to make it healthier.
Hmm.
Um so I like a lot of like weird cereals, but there's one that's like if my sister came in here and told you I eat this cereal called Cocoa Bunnies by the brand Annie's like literally every day. Like they're
Wait,
so
that's
good. It's like Cocoa Puffs but like a slightly healthier version. Yeah. But I mean, what it's either Cheerios, Fruit Loops.
yeah, no.
Uh, I eat a lot of. I used to eat a lot of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I just love cereal. I love it.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a no for me because, like,
You don't like that?
I do. Look, I'm older now, so I'm not really into all the like super sweet cereal. So Cinnamon Toast
That I
Crunch was a
can't get on.
vibe
I
at
can't move
first.
on.
What's the go-to dessert?
Yeah. I like anything with chocolate in it. I also love ice
Okay,
cream, even though I'm like supposed to
right.
be vegan. But I love some mochi. Mochis are vegan. I love a lot of alternatives too. But yeah, I love brownies
Oh
too.
yeah,
I love a lot of sweet
brownies. You can't go
things.
wrong with brownies.
My weakness.
Right. I figured out a way to just basically make your own personal brownie in a mug one time because we had cocoa and I'm like,
Oh
okay, so we
yeah.
have cocoa, we have this. Let me look something up real quick. Food Network has all of the recipes. Went off Food Network, figured it out. Thing.
What did you make it
Um,
in?
it
Did you
was
bake
it was
it?
just in a mug, like a regular coffee mug. So I put the cocoa in there, a little bit of vanilla extract. It's been a few years since I've made it, but
Dang, I want to try that.
yeah, definitely look it up because you can make it in the microwave,
That sounds great. Yeah.
right? And then if you
Oh
have,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Then I know what you're talking about.
yeah, if you have ice cream, just throw a little bit of ice cream on there, and then boom, you're good to go.
Cool. Yeah, that's dope. I'll have to try that
All right.
for sure.
So moving on, the Fox magazine is all about inspiration. So can you tell me what or who inspires you the most?
My parents first, because they both are entrepreneurs and both went against what's typically accepted in society, like starting your own business. That's kind of risky, especially a dance studio. For my mom, it's just another one of those things where it's like, you probably should try to get
Hmm.
something more stable. Especially her parents are immigrants, so they were very they were trying to have their kids, live out the American dream of like, doing a 9 to 5, being a lawyer or a doctor. But my mom ended up doing what she loved, which paid off. So her, first of all, definitely inspired me to explore what it is that I feel my purpose is. And after that, I think I've mentioned him already, but like Miguel has always been a huge inspiration. My first influences from when back as soon as I can remember was Natasha Bedingfield. She's so sick. Beyonce, specifically the song Halo, and uh, and Michael Jackson, of course, and a lot of like rock actually, because my dad grew up playing a lot of classic rock. So all of that really inspired me with the sounds that I like and the type of vocals that I like, the type of writing I like. So that all blended together as I grew up and continues to inspire me today.
In my personal opinion, I think like some of the best artists are the artists that listen to all genres of music because you can pull from pretty much
It's a
any type. Yeah,
feeling.
music is a universal language in my opinion. Like it goes with everything. Any mood that you're in, there's a song for it. Any like feeling that you want to express but can't express, like if you're trying to tell someone something, you can send them a song. So I just feel like music is just the it's just the top as far as just expressing yeah expressing yourself. So
Yeah, I think the reason why music is so universal is just because no matter what language it's in, no matter what instruments are used, it conveys a feeling, and feelings are, everybody knows what feelings are. Everybody has the same types of feelings when certain things happen. Like when you're angry, you know what that feeling is. When you're happy, you know what that feeling is. So that universal understanding of it allows people to listen to music of any genre, any type. That's why like Bad Bunny is so popular, because although like maybe only Hispanic people or Latino people might be able to understand it, the whole world taps in because it gives you this super bomb feeling of like, yes, I'm cool, I'm swag, bonito. Like it gives you this super cool energy, and it's about that feeling that it gives you. And that's why, I love listening to music of all cultures, because it shows you that feeling, like a feeling that that culture likes to feel, or something that they wanted to convey. It's really cool, and it does allow you to bring those elements into creating your own sound for
okay,
sure.
so my last question
Mhm.
is what motto, quote, or words to live by do you use to stay motivated when you aren't feeling so inspired?
My dad actually has a lot of motivational quotes. Some of them are kind of like not PG, but he's just, he's him. But one of the things that he always has told me is look at what everybody's doing and do something different. And that has always kind of instilled in me to not force myself to fit in if I don't want to. So it allows me to just kind of, if it means that I'm going to be alone, like, you make your decision and stand proud in it. Like if you know what you want to do, you know who you want to be, just go for it. And the rest of things will fall into place. But he just always has told me, like, you know oh, and also my name is Grace. So my mom used to read me this book called Amazing Grace. And like one of the biggest points in the book is you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And those are such simple quotes, but there's a reason they're so popular. It's because if you really do believe it and you really do allow that to serve you, it can take you very far. So those little things are always in my mind. Studying the greats and not the trends, to uh, you know, not going with what's popping right now, and looking back on historically what has worked, and historically like the traditional ways is there's always, truth and tradition. So yeah, just sticking with it.
Okay, I love that answer.
Yeah,
All right,
long-winded.
well,
Sorry.
no, 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 it's fine. Thank you so much for just actually like taking the time out of your day again just to have this interview with me.
Cool. No, I really appreciate you.
but but like okay, so you're a vegan. So do we do like almond milk or
Oat.
any oat milk? Okay, I like
Oat.
oat milk.
All the way, yeah. It's just it has a better consistency.
Yeah, almond milk. It's not really milk. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, that's just water. That's all it
It's literally blended almond
is.
with water.
Right.
So,
But as a
yeah.
kid, like drinking like the milk from after you eat the cereal, cinnamon toast crunch leaves like that sweet milk, and if you drink that, if I was to drink that, I would have a stomach ache for the rest of